There are certain things that you can do, certain prayers, certain different things that you can do in order to help sustenance, in order to help money and making a living. There's more possibilities of being able to do it as a Jew than there is as a non-Jew. Yes, there are definitely things that you can do in order to help that. As a matter of fact, there's one thing that Hashem told us that we're allowed to test Him. We're not allowed to test Hashem in anything. Like, for example, we're not allowed to say, Hashem, if you really exist, give me a sign right now. Make a lightning or something like that. We're not allowed to do that. Or look for signs from Hashem. We're not allowed to say, Hashem, if you really exist, do something. We're not allowed to do things like that. We're not allowed to test Hashem. There's only one thing that Hashem said we are allowed to test Him, and He's actually inviting us to test Him. And it says, Maaser v'tit asher. Maaser is tithe, 10%. Hashem said that if you give it 10% of the net income, not gross. So for example, if somebody makes, let's say if they make $3,000 a month, and their bills are $2,000, and they have $1,000 left. So that $1,000 is what I'm talking about, not the $3,000. So the tithe, the maaser, he says if you give 10% of that, what's remaining, to tzedakah, but not just any tzedakah, not to somebody that's a gambler that just needs more money to go play blackjack. You give it to somebody that's learning Torah, you give it to somebody that's helping Jews, you give it to a real good Torah cause. If you do that, Hashem says, I guarantee that you will be rich. Not just have money, you will be rich in your lifetime. He doesn't say timing though. So I don't want anyone to misunderstand. He doesn't say, listen, you do it for a year, I guarantee the next year you'll be rich. He doesn't say that. So I know personally one guy that did it for maybe a year and became very, very wealthy. I know another guy that did it for maybe 10 or 15 years before he became wealthy. So there's no measure. Hashem decides when. Each person has their own test. I know that the younger guy, the guy that got rich quickly, he was much younger. Which I'm not God or anything, but I know that he would not have held up to that test for 15 years. He would have not have given 10% for 15 years waiting to become rich. Why? Because the guy that's 25 years old doesn't have the patience of a guy that's 45 or 50. So Hashem also told us He's not going to give us tests that we can't pass. So that's one thing in regards that to for sustenance that can help us. That Hashem Himself, it's in the Torah. Hashem Himself said it, not me or anything like that. Another thing is there's a blessing called Birkat HaMazon, which is the blessing you do after you eat bread. Anytime you eat bread as part of a meal, or even just bread by itself, there's something called Birkat HaMazon, which you're obligated to say anyway. Now that blessing, if you have a lot of kavanah, a lot of meaning in that blessing, the sages say it's a skula. It can give you extra sustenance, extra money. And there's a few other things. We can go over another time. But there's several things that Hashem gave us through His sages and even through Himself that can help us have an easier time making a living. The most important thing out of everything is having emunah, having faith in Hashem, that He's in control of everything. As long as we have faith in Him, we'll never have anything to worry about. Which means that anytime we're worried, that means we have a lack of faith. And we have to work on it.